How's it going? Welcome to Creative Questions, a podcast where I bring on creatives and ask them questions. And it's seriously as simple as that. I can ask them silly questions. I can ask them deep questions. I can ask them businessy questions. I have the ability to ask them any question that I want. And that's what we'll do here today. So let's get into it and have some fun. On today's episode of Creative Questions, we have our first real guest. And this is going to kick off a line of illustrious guests from here forward. I am so excited to get into this episode. I was so nervous to reach out to this person and see if they would want to do it. And to my surprise, they did. So our first guest is going to be Cymone Wilder. Cymone Wilder is a senior art director and lettering artist based in Nashville. Since 2013, she has collaborated with amazing clients such as Netflix, Nickelodeon, HBO Max, Cosmopolitan, Planned Parenthood, and New Belgium, creating custom lettering artwork for established brands, books, apparel, and much more. She is fiercely passionate about producing meaningful and long-lasting work, drawing inspiration from the Black experience. In her spare time, she enjoys pretending she's super outdoorsy and laughing with friends around bonfires. She doesn't enjoy running, but does it a lot anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, Cymone Wilder. How are you doing? How's it going? It's great to meet you for the first time.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good on this Monday. I just went freelance recently. So like every day has felt like Groundhog's Day, and it's felt like the exact same day every day.
I know the feeling.
So how have you been? What's going on? Anything exciting for the week?
Oh man, no, I think this week is actually kind of slow, which is nice. I feel like the first few months of this year were crazy. So to have this like nice slow period is the sweet spot.
Do you plan anything for slow periods? Like, are you like, oh, I got to work on something that I've been putting off or anything like that?
I mean, I always have a few like side projects going, but because I have a full-time job in addition to the freelance, I'm just like, let me just soak up the slowness, because you never know when, those peaks and valleys are going to hit.
Oh, 100%. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to ask you one of the many questions that I provided you. You have no idea which ones they are, and that's the exciting piece of it. So let's start with why lettering? Why is lettering the thing that you kind of gravitated to, and what do you love about that?
I mean, I feel like growing up when I was, in school, taking notes and like scribbling in the margins of, worksheets and stuff, I noticed that it was always letters. Like, we were always doing like bubble letters and block letters in school. And so when it kind of came time to get serious about, things that I really loved, I saw that hand lettering was kind of popping off on social media when like Instagram was just starting off. And I was like, let me see if this is, something I can get into. And I did and had some good success. And I was like, well, let me just see if I can make this a business. Cause that's what us young entrepreneurs are always like, how can we make the next buck?
Yeah. Grind.
Yep. So I was, when I started freelancing, I was doing graphic design and brand design and lettering stuff too. But I think more and more people started coming to me just for lettering. And I have just, found a lot of joy in that. So I kind of have narrowed the scope of what I do in the freelance stuff to almost just lettering. And I think it feels like the most true, like the most joy I've gotten out of work is doing just lettering. So, yeah.
when you started, did you take classes, or was it just something that was like purely, I took from when I was in high school scribbling to straight into, I'm going to have people pay me for doing this kind of thing?
I mean, I went to school for graphic design, but I went to this small little Christian college, and so there was obviously no lettering program, and like even I think we had like a typography class, but it was like truly like the very bare minimum, probably super outdated, like lesson plans and stuff. So it really kind of was just like, I'm gonna just try lettering, and I'm gonna just copy some of the people who are making a name for themselves right now, and let me just grab a calligraphy book and see what works. And I think that's kind of really where I don't know, like that's where all my technique comes from. I didn't like take formal classes.
I love that. That's one thing that like I always, because I'm the same way. I came from a whole different industry before I started doing graphic design, and I fell in love with letters because I'm like, it's a easy way to be able to say something without having to say it. So that's how, like, as a person, I'm one of those people who doesn't like, I talk a lot, but only when I'm comfortable. So it allows me to talk to people when I'm also not feeling like the most comfortable. So I love when people are like, yeah, I just found this book, or I went and researched it, and then I just practice. And I love that about like us and Americans and people, that we have that ability to do it. And especially with social media, YouTube, we have so many, the ability to be creative is like unleashed on us at this point. And not for people to not take advantage. They're always like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you could be out there like the, what was it? The ICDC college, get off the couch. What are you doing? You could be out here learning. So I was like, why aren't you doing it? So I love to see people who are like, I was just resourceful and I figured it out. So that's really cool. Yeah. To be honest, you're one of my inspirations when it comes to it. Because I'm so new to it, I'm like, well, where do I go? And then I see that like your style is one that's like very fun, very like rough. It seems like it's like straight out of your mind onto paper, and you don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. You're just doing, which I love that second nature of it all. So let's just hop into the next question. Like, where did that creative style come from? Who are your inspirations creatively?
Yeah, I mean, the style, I feel like, really comes from something I'm trying to like lean into now. Is just trying to make lettering accessible to everyone. Like this is the nice part of it. I just like the style because I like the style, but I'm making it accessible to other people, like showing folks that you don't need to have gone through, years and years of school to do this. You don't need to have like the most expensive tools. Like, I have made my style like this rough and tumble, like sketch, like unfinished work. And I think that like we just got to like remove those barriers for people, because some people just think it's got to be like perfect and amazing for you to be successful. But I just like love how cheap and like grungy and imperfect my stuff is. And so I'm trying to like lean into that more and more these days, because I just want to like open this up to folks. And I think like people who inspired me, obviously like Eric Marinovic and Jessica Hish, because they were kind of like the first like all-stars in the lettering world, at least when I was coming up. And now I feel like I'm trying to find inspiration from people who aren't letterers or people who aren't even artists. Like, I get a lot of inspiration from music and like the feeling that provides, and just like being in relationship with real people and seeing signage around town. So like I moved to Nashville almost 10 years ago, and some of the Black neighborhoods have this incredible like sign paintery vibe, and a lot of the old signage, because it's still like some of the original buildings and places. And I think finding inspiration from that is, a way to connect to legacy and history and all of that stuff. But it's also just a way to connect with the community as it exists today. So I'm trying to just like diversify where I get my inspiration from, because, you know, finding it from the same two people for ever and ever is not always the most sustainable thing, you know?
For sure. But yeah, and that's what's so fascinating is like when you're exploring something new, you kind of have to do that. Like all you know is the people who are doing it. But like as you get more comfortable and as you get more comfortable in your style, you start seeing it everywhere. And you're like, wait, that sign down the street, the letters on that are sick. Or like someone drew some graffiti on it and you're like, dang, that would go in there nice. Like, so it's really cool because you can, I even in my own social media, you can see where I was like, oh, I want to be in graphic design. I want to know more about graphic design. But like as the years have gone by, I've picked other people to be like the staples on my social media that are outside of that world. And there's this artist I came across who's very like, he's a painter, but he'll go and he'll paint something and then really harshly paint over the top of it and then paint something else. And I'm like, just the art of like, there's more to this piece than you can even like visually see. And that's like,
you get like little treats and hidden pieces and like, there's a depth to that. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So that's so cool to be able to do that. And like, again, what I love about your work is just like, how much you could like put Easter eggs in it and like, oh yeah, this little portion here tells a different story because it's not all clean and concise and fixed up and perfect and made simple for everyone to digest. It's made for whoever is supposed to like go on that journey. So sick. Yeah. All right, let's hop into the next question. So you're a big music person. I've seen a lot, like you're always posting like songs from your Spotify. When it comes down to it, what are your top 3 concerts you feel like you need to attend in your life?
Ooh. I always have trouble with these questions because I feel like I don't know how to like dream big enough and like people I want to see. Because I feel like this year I saw Hiatus Coyote, which is like probably my favorite group. So I already checked that off the bucket list. And man, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the like maybe like Robert Glasper or this is tough. You got me. I knew the question was there. I had time to think about it, and I still like.
I'll throw one out. One for me was
what you got?
Childish Gambino. I saw him maybe 4 years ago, like right before the pandemic.
Nice.
And that's one that was like, I have to see this man before. One that I was sad that I missed was Mac Miller. Like, and he was coming to Phoenix right before he passed. And I was just like, man. So that's one. And then my last one's probably Tyler the Creator. I have to. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
but
you got time for that.
He'll be out for a while. So those are probably the top 3 for me. But I saw that you also like Jid. Is Jid on the list? Yeah, Jid's.
The funny thing about that is I bought tickets to him. Him and Cymone went on, they were on tour. Their last stop was in Nashville. And I got tickets, and I did not realize that I needed to be at a conference like the day that the concert was. Like I just got the dates mixed up, so I couldn't go. So I guess that's back on the list. That is for sure because I would have loved to see, especially on their last show. You know, they just like throw out all the stops. So
yeah,
I do need to see that.
Jid and Cymone are one of like, again, creatively, like I feel like Jid is not like he's going all gas. There's no breaks. Like everything he's made has been like a level up, and he just keeps getting better. And I'm like, it's so crazy to see how young these artists are and how much time.
I know. I hate finding out how old they are because it's like, damn, you're like 25 or whatever. However old these cats are, like. Y'all are already doing all this crazy stuff. Like, that's nuts.
And even Tyler's been out forever. And it's like, I'm like, you're still getting, like, he put out Sorry Not Sorry or the deluxe part of his album. And I'm like, every song I'm like, this man is getting better with every track. Like there's a slow track and he's just like in the beat and you're feeling it, and there's a dance track and you're like, God, man.
Yep.
So I love music so much. I feel like when you create, how do you do it? Are you in an environment of music? Are you what is that? What does your environment look like when you're creating?
I mean, I'm sad to say that most of the time when I'm drawing, I like put on a terrible movie that I like don't have to like super actively pay attention to, or something I've seen 100 times. But occasionally like the perfect creating vibe for me is like I'm sitting on the porch. I got some old school jazz, playing through the speakers, through the window or something. And like it's warm and breezy. Like that's when like I can just like feel the emotion in my chest, in my body, and then that's when it really hits, and I like can make my best work. But of course, I can't do that every single day. So I'm usually like sitting on the couch or on the floor or something watching a bad movie.
Yeah, that's dope. You saying that reminded me of like me being at my grandma's house. Like that vibe.
Yeah,
and
that's the vibe.
The feet kicked up and like they ain't got nothing to do because they're retired. Like,
yep,
that's sick.
Yep.
I'm still in an apartment, so the front porch.
I mean, you just gotta open up the windows and like kind of catch the vibe where you can.
Yeah, that's dope. You brought up the full-time job. What are you doing full-time?
So I am a senior art director and I work at Amazon. Okay, I work for the man. So, I mean, I feel like I always am in this constant battle of trying to figure out when is the right time to go full-time freelance. But, I mean, especially this year with how weird the economy is feeling, I'm just like, this is probably not the moment. So let me just keep collecting that paycheck and benefits while I can, get that savings together so that, when I do feel ready, I'll be ready. Like all the pieces will be in place. So, yeah.
It always feels like such a like juggle. Like you're just trying to figure out, well, how do I get over to this thing? And then like freelance, but this thing moves back and forth. So it's like, sometimes that's okay to give it a shot, but like sometimes I need the security. So I totally understand, like, that's why I was at my last gig, because the freelance was like, it's kind of drying up. It's time to go back. But that's one thing that I love about what we do is like just having the freedom to be able to be like, well, I got skills for sale. If I got enough people buying my skills, then I don't have to go over there. But when it goes down, I can go over there and feel a little comfy. But I respect it.
Yeah. I mean, one day, I feel like too, I mean, obviously having a stable income and like now I'm freelancing and I'm full time. So it's like, I basically am getting, double income. And so could I go full time freelance and just have the one income? Yes. But having that like really serious financial stability is incredible. Like I could, if I went full time freelance, I'd obviously have more time to dedicate to it and I could pull in more money, but right now it's slow at my day job, and so it's a good balance at this moment.
And it gives you time to kind of still think. Like even though the man they have your hand and they have you scribbling, you can still use your mind to do some other and think about other things. That's really cool. So we're gonna get into one of the goofy questions.
Let's go.
Which would you prefer to have as a roommate, a goat or a bird?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like I've seen plenty of people with like some dope ass bird relationships. So if I could get a bird that's like cool and like could kind of take care of itself, then I would do that. Cause like, I mean, a ghost's gonna come up here and mess up my floors and all my furniture and make it stinky and stuff. Like, I think me and the bird could work it out well.
That's so funny that you know people with a bird relationship. Like, You're like, I've seen this relationship work before. I'm all about it.
They're like the people I know with birds. Like they're some good friends too. And I feel like I just listened to a thing on NPR this past week about how they got some birds like zooming each other and like having relationships with other birds. And I'm like, cool. I love that you have like a little side social life. Do your thing.
So your bird just, hey, I'm gonna head out, and they go.
Yeah, like. Like you do you. I love that.
I'll be back at have my cage ready at 9. I'll be back.
Don't stay out too late now. Don't get crazy.
That's hilarious. The only thing about birds is they terrify me. Like I'm like, because in all actuality, birds used to be dinosaurs. Like you got a velociraptor in your apartment now. Like. So,
that's true. Okay, but where'd a goat come from, sir? A goat probably came from a dinosaur too, clomping around.
That's a good point.
You know?
And goats, I'm not saying either one of these are good roommates. Goats also terrify me. When I was in 6th grade, we had a goat as a classroom pet, but it was like one of those fainting goats. So you would run up on it, you'd be like, and it would like pass out, like get stiff and like roll over. I'm like, why are we doing this?
That's the perfect goat for little kids, because I feel like, or maybe it's the worst goat for little kids, because I feel like all these little kids are just going to try and make the goat faint all the time.
All the time. That's all we did. I was like, why are we doing this? But I grew up in Missouri when that's the type of class pet we had. So
yeah. I know the vibes.
All right. Think about the first project you ever charged for. What was it, and how much did you charge?
Okay, so this is maybe not the right answer for this question, but I think the first project that I did, and I didn't even finish this project, but my mom's friend, like wanted to start a little company or something, as all of our mother's friends want to do. And so they're like, Cymone, you kind of do some art stuff. Could you maybe make us a logo? And I was like, sure, but I don't have any of the Adobe things. I don't like actually have the skill set to do this, but okay. And they're like, well, what if we bought you Adobe Suite? And I was like, are you sure you know how much that costs? Because this is like back before it was the subscription. So it was like, you got to get the little box and it's like $600-700. Yep. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And then I basically just like typed a little font and a little diagonal line, and that was like the logo. But I got the tools to the trade for free, so
that's fire.
That's how much I charged.
That's like a fire intro story. You're like, you know what I charged for my first project? Adobe Suite. Like,
hey,
that's fire.
Got me in the game.
Everyone's usual story is like, I found an unlocked copy of Photoshop and I was making logos in that. And it's like, they were trash because Photoshop is not for that at all. But that's sick. You finesse the game. You're like, I got you. My first one was I had someone. So I don't know why I thought this, but I was like, I can make tattoos in Photoshop. And like you could take it to like tattooing isn't like a full profession. Like they needed me to save them and make some artwwork for them. So one of my friends was like, "Can you?"
That's very generous of you.
I was like, now I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, I went to somebody, or I had someone else go to someone and be like, make this. And it's something I made in Photoshop. Like, it's all pixelated. But this girl, when I was in college, was like, I want. These stories are always funny. She was like, I want a gun. It said that is shaped like a gun. It has live, laugh, love on the side of it. And then the gun is shooting out different size stars. And listen to the placement. The placement she wanted on her hip. Like going up into her side.
So she's shooting from her hip? She's shooting live, laugh, love stars from the hip. Yeah. That's intense.
So I made
this is why my one rule in design is I don't do tattoos, because it's always the most unhinged stuff like that. It's like, please combine my top 10 favorite things in this world that none have anything to do with each other and make it look good.
1,000,000%. So I give her this, and then she like takes it and she gets it. The person did it. I'm like, I would have pushed back, but they did it exactly like it was. But I think I charged like $20. So I was like, I'm the man. Like, look at that. Look what my hands just did. Like,
do you have a picture of the tattoo?
I could probably find it. She probably posted on Facebook because she was excited about it. It's probably out there. It was bad. It was bad. Like, I lost my hard drive during that time, so which I'm kind of happy about because it's like you don't need that stuff.
You don't need that trauma in your life.
Yeah, but I did the same thing. So the funny thing, there was this meme going around with remember the famous F? It has the F and then it had the star. So it was like, check on your friend that has this tattooed on them. They're not doing okay. And I'm like, okay, this is funny. Ha ha. I'm the friend. I have that tattooed on my chest. It was like one of the first logos I saw, and I was like, oh, this is dope. So I was like, let me make a tattoo out of this.
Oh, you were that serious about it? You were like, I need this for life.
I was 20. I was 20 years old.
Do you still have it? Did you get it covered up or something?
No, it's still there. Like, until that meme, I didn't realize how bad it was. And that meme, that was like last week, and I was like, so
I mean, the only thing that matters is if you like it, and that's it. If you liked it before the meme, then you good to go.
Don't do that to me. That's what people say when.
I mean, I'm gonna tell 10 people that you got this tattoo, but as long as you like it, then it's all good.
And it says and what made it worse is like we were over my wife's friend's house, and they're like, "Oh, does it say family?" Like she was joking. It says family. And the ILY is in brackets because I was obsessed with brackets when I was 19. I don't know.
That's it. That's good. That's good. That's that's Fast and Furious, man. You love family. You love this random logo. Oh, that's it.
So I should now. I will never make a tattoo for anyone, not even myself. So. I'm glad I don't know.
Those were two fire examples of tattoos. You might need to keep doing it.
No, I'll never do it again. What if I believed you? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I should believe in myself.
I'd be like, I should not have.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so there was this question that floated around a couple years ago that I thought was hilarious. So, dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000?
Oh, I saw that and I was like $500,000. I'm sure Jay-Z is a lovely person, but I don't need that. I've been existing 30 years without that dinner. Give me $500K. That's going to make my life better today.
I thought that question was so funny when people were like, here's the breakdown. Jay-Z will hip you to LLCs and he'll show you how to, and I'm like, I don't want to hear.
Nah.
Why would I want to hear about LLCs from Jay-Z?
Right. Like also that means I gotta have dinner with Jay-Z and then I gotta go take that stuff and go do stuff. Like I gotta do work after that.
Exactly.
To get whatever value that provides. Like the $500K is the value here.
Yes. He gave me a job. I could have money or a job. And I was like, why are we even asking this question?
Yeah.
$500K
like,
or
the only reason I could see it is it working out is like if Jay-Z introduced me to somebody who was going to give me $1 million in that moment, like then sure, I would love to have dinner with Jay-Z, but like other than that,
That's a much better point. Like he hook you up with here's my man's. You come to dinner with me, he's gonna give you $1 million. But I don't see that
for sure.
happening.
I would do that. That sounds like a sugar daddy, and why not? Let's go.
Jeez.
Hey, look, for $1 million, there's a couple things I would do.
That's hilarious. You have a list, and someone approaches you with something on that list, and you're like, "I'm game. This is actually on my list of things I would do for $1 million." That's funny. Here's another question: who would you like to play you in a movie?
Oh, I knew this was coming because somebody. Oh, a couple weeks ago, we were having a meeting, and they wanted to they were presenting something, and they wanted to make it a little fun. So they were like, let's do a celebrity lookalike for all the speakers in this meeting. And they're like, Cymone, who's your celebrity lookalike? And I was like, I do not know, because I don't think that person exists. Man, I feel like when I was younger, I would have said like Queen Latifah, because I mean, she's in the game already. She's already in movies. Like, I like her and stuff. That's fine. That works. But I don't think she like looks enough like me to make that make sense.
She's black. That's all that matters. In Hollywood, you gotta be.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
Play everybody.
I probably should ask a white friend to tell me who they think should play me, because then, you know, the world is truly their oyster. It could be any black person on the planet.
That would be amazing. I'm gonna start asking white friends that. That's
there
like,
you go.
That's like
I mean, there was that question, like the question of like, what character do you play in a TV show? And like, you're talking to your friends about it, and like an example would be like Parks and Rec. What character are you? And I'm talking to all my friends, and I just know exactly who they're gonna say what character I would be like, because there's like the one black woman in the show. That's who you gotta be. So
like you, Donna, every time. Donna.
Yeah.
And
it's like, well, I like her, so this works, but next time it might not be the, you know, what am I, Stanley in The Office, and like all these, like, come on. I mean, again, I also like Stanley. I mess with that personality, so.
Stanley's fire. Stanley's, he's not even, and that's what I love about The Office is like all the characters, no one's underrated. Like every character like got to shine kind of thing. Where are you on Office versus Parks and Rec? Are they equals to you, or is one better than the other?
I actually watched The Office. I have not actually watched Parks and Rec. Like, I've seen a handful of episodes here and there, but I have not like sat down and watched the whole series. So I'd probably have to say Office, but I feel like I'm in a different part of my life. I don't know if either of those shows do it for me anymore, you know?
I don't know.
That's my hot take. Dang.
I love. You're right though.
I think they're both great shows, but like, I don't know if I would just sit down and watch either of them at this point anymore.
We watched The Office like it had to be like last year or something, and it was a little different. It was just like, this is kind of on to be on. I'm not really like sitting here enjoying it. I feel like Parks and Rec for me was a better show. It just felt like the characters grew up. Like they kind of were able to grow and move. And The Office, it seemed like we had like the same characters through all, like the whole time it being around. But I definitely feel you on like, we tried to go back and watch How I Met Your Mother. Doesn't hold up. Yeah,
it just doesn't, like those existed in like such a little time bubble where it was just like, it was perfect then, but now it's like, I mean, really any like sitcom that started before like 2010, you go back and watch it, it's like, oh, we are not allowed to say that stuff anymore, y'all.
Isn't that wild? And like he watched Diversity Day, and they had to pull Diversity Day off of streaming, and I'm like, we were watching this. Diversity Day is so funny though. It's so funny.
I mean, there's these shows that's the crazy thing is like, I went back and watched My Wife and Kids, and it's like, that show is hilarious, but there is a lot of really like terrible themes going on in that show, and it's like, oh, I mean, I'm glad we figured it out between then and now, but that's crazy.
Again, we'll keep advancing, and I'm hoping that we end up with some more shows that are actually original in the next couple of years. That can be that fun, because we haven't had anything be original in like.
No, we just recycling all the hits over and over again. It's like Lord of the Rings again. We're gonna do Game of Thrones again. We're gonna do another version of Breaking Bad.
Yep.
So
I'm excited for that. But I always like, when I think about sitcom shows, they have from Family Matters, they have the dad on a Progressive has him on like one of the commercials.
Yeah.
And every time, so I was thinking about like who would play you in a movie. My son, every time he sees that commercial, he's like, "Hey, it's Dad," and I'm like, "I am not Carl Winslow." Like,
yeah, is that a compliment?
I don't know. He's like, "Hey, it's Dad," I'm like, because they say, hey, this is TV dad, and I'm like, dang, like, what? That's so disrespectful.
All that tells me is your son could see really just like 50% of black dudes in the street and be like, that's my dad.
That's probably true, though. That's not a lie. It's like, do you guys even work? Like, do you, like...
I don't know.
I don't know. He's 3, so, like,
I mean, little kids are... Yeah, it's different. I will say, though, my nephew, both my brothers have sons, and they live, quite a distance away, so I don't get to see them as often as I'd like. And my nephew, I met him, when he was a baby, and then I didn't see him for maybe, like, 6 months. So he goes from, like, basically a 1-year-old to essentially a 2-year-old.
Yeah. And
in that time, like, I lost 100 pounds. I shaved my head, and then we were in the pandemic. So the next time I saw him, I had a mask on. I was like, this little kid is not going to know who I am at all. But he saw me, and he was like, ooh, Auntie Moan. I was like, oh. I am honored that I definitely look like a 100% different person, and you still knew as soon as you saw me.
You could have switched like send a stunt double. That's so fun. Like, kids, yeah, that's awesome though. That means you had an impact. You had an impact on that child.
I mean, I guess so. I held the child for maybe an hour. That was enough for that child.
Or your brother or sister was just like, hey, this is a picture of your auntie.
They were they weeks and weeks in advance. They were like, okay, don't mess this up for us.
Yeah, and
memorize this picture.
She might never come back. If you get this wrong, she might never come back. That's just my experience with fam. Like, especially since after 2020, it's like. Everyone showed up like right before that, like with my son, and so they like saw him when he was like 6 months. But because we went through 2020 and all of that, they have not seen him since. And I'm like, you gonna show up and this boy's gonna be a teenager.
Is a different person.
He's gonna be a whole like he's gonna be at like knowing stuff, and y'all haven't seen him since he was a couldn't speak. So I'm like, y'all better hurry up and get down here before this man turns into a grown adult. Like,
true. So, and that you don't want them. They don't want to miss that phase when you can like tell, secret things to the kid, bad words to say, and all that stuff. Like that's all I'm looking forward to as an aunt. I'm trying to cause chaos.
Yeah, you're like, here's 7 marshmallows. Have a good time. And losing my.
That window is very small for a child, so they got to take advantage.
That's so funny. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll do the ending question. When it comes to creativity, what is your kind of end of the road creativity end game? When you're riding off into the sunset, what do you want to kind of be that final thing that you've done or thing that you've achieved?
So my final thing is not really like in the art space so much. I've always had this dream of opening either like a coffee shop, bar, restaurant type of thing. So I feel like that is my end game. If I could get, and now that I've, had time to like think about it and spend time with it, I think I kind of want it to be like a record shop bar situation. So if I could get basically, I mean, it really is just getting all my loves in one spot, like music, community, and, a place to, flex my design skills in a hospitality setting type of thing. If I can get all of those in one spot and just kind of like be there. I mean, I honestly, like, I don't have an affinity for making drinks or like, I don't cook or do anything. I really would just like be happy washing dishes in the back type of thing and just like letting this space exist. Like that's my end game. Like if I could have this tight spot where all my friends can come hang out and the community can come and hang out, like I was successful in this life.
Dang, that's dope. I love that. That's how me and my wife are like, because we're doing a lot of things that are like, well, we need to make money now. And it's like, those type of situations, you kind of have to have it, like already be there, or like have rich parents, and we don't got that. So
right.
it's like,
well, see, this is why I got to go have dinner with Jay-Z so I can get my $1 million from my sugar daddy, and then I can open my spot.
That's it. Jay-Z did it. Hey,
yep.
Oh, The Rock. That's so.
Look, I'll name the thing after him if that's what it's got to be. Then I'll do what I got to do. But you know,
do you have a place?
Those things cost money.
Yeah. Do you have a place in Memphis that you feel like you vibe there that is kind of like inspiration for the future spot?
So I actually live in Nashville, but
sorry.
there is a spot. Yeah. No, you're good. It's like the same thing down here, basically. But there's a spot in Memphis, that I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Kolar, but he's a designer. He has a bar, and I feel like, I mean, it just opened maybe a year or two ago, but like the way he's doing it is like right. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. So I feel like he's laying out the blueprint. I'm gonna like be in his ear constantly trying to get the details. But I was in Detroit last fall, and there's like a record shop bar situation there, and I was like, oh yes, this is it, this is what I want to do. And it's like not even anything special. It's very, very low key. Like it's not even, the space itself is not like, you know, it doesn't look like they spent a lot of money doing it. I'm like, okay, yes, this is something I can actually achieve. It's not just some like pipe dream. So between like the spot in Memphis and the spot in Detroit, I feel like I have all of this inspiration. I'm like ready to make it happen.
You have the stones, you have your Thanos, and you got it. You ready to go?
Yep.
That's
now
fire.
I just need the money.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's called Inkwell, right? Just the people that he is like working with and like the vibes he's creating, I'm like, I need to meet this guy. So he's one of the dream guests for this podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that out in the ether.
yeah.
But yeah, that's sick. I'm excited for you to build that so I can visit it. And I think that's my that's my vibe too. Like I have a record player in the back, like you can see it. Love to throw on some records, create that vibe. So that's fire. I got one more question for you because the name of the show is Creative Questions. This one's more of an open-ended. You can go any way you kind of want to. What is creativity to you?
Ooh. I don't have like a super eloquent way of saying this, but just like whatever activity or thing you do that makes you feel most at home in yourself. I think that to me is like creativity. Like I mean, I know people joke and say like accountants can't be creative and stuff because it's just math and numbers, but like if that's that thing that like makes your chest feel like something's tugging on it and like you feel like you can try something new or like do something different, I feel like that's there's a level of creativity there. So I think anything that just makes your heartstrings go, that's creativity.
Love that. I love that because I always say like there's nothing that is more expressive of who you are than creativity, because it's all you gotta either pull it from things that you're inspired by or things that like it's just a culmination of things that you've experienced in life. So like you can find creativity anywhere. Like cooking dinner, you can find creativity in that. Like people on the basketball court, like so that's what like I hope to explore more with this podcast, like and talk about all the different ways that people in our world are creative, but we don't call it creative. Like when I was engineering, I would like, I don't know if anyone else thought of it like this, but I would be like in a test, like going into a test, and we would have questions where it was very open-ended, and it was just like use the formulas, use the information I give you, put it all together, and come up with some form of answer. And I'm like, it was a string. Like, so basically, we were stringing equations together to get to a final point. And I'm like, there's creativity.
That's
in
creativity.
That. Like, it's open ended. There's a world to build and play. So I just exposing that for people. I hope we can kind of just chill, man. Like we can all find something creative about, and we go to your record / coffee shop / place, and we're like, we being creative in this joint. So that's dope.
Yeah, anywhere where you can like do something different, make a little change, feel most comfortable in yourself. Like that's the dream. That's the sweet spot.
For sure. So we're gonna go ahead and come to an end. If you have anything you want to throw out there, anything you want to kind of plug, tell people about, this will probably be out in the next probably 2 weeks. So if anything that is you want to tell people about, and then also give your social handles where people can find you at.
Yeah. You can find me on all of the places everywhere on the internet as Cymone Moose. I don't have anything to sell you. I guess just hire me if you are a big brand and got lots of money.
Love it. Hey, love that. That was fire. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Creative Questions. Like, comment, or subscribe to allow us to keep making more episodes. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.